Hello, my name is Joe Crowder. I'm Director of Public Safety here at Bladen Community College. So glad that you've decided to enroll in this EMS Instructor Methodology class. This class is designed primarily for those experienced providers that wish to continue their administrative and educational opportunities into the instructor role. This instructor methodology will cover the requirements set forth by the Office of EMS for your Level 1 instructor requirements. This will be a 56-hour class. The majority of this class will be online. There will be 2 days that will be required in classroom days to present your skills as well as your final presentation. A little bit of background about myself. I've been in emergency services for approximately 25 years, since 1993, so going on 25 years. I've been an EMS instructor in various levels, beginning in 1997 up until obviously into the position that I'm currently in. I have conducted a number of EMS instructor methodology classes throughout the years. And the North Carolina Office of EMS has afforded me the opportunity to be one of the few instructors across the state that is allowed and permitted to teach this class. Although this course is offered online, there is going to be several things that you as students will be required to complete during the coursework while you're within your time frame. This course is not for a paramedic provider. It's not just for EMT providers. It is for those people that currently hold a EMS certificate or EMS certification to be able to teach at the level in which they are currently certified. And throughout the class, later on throughout this course and upcoming lectures, you will see that there are a number of requirements that you as a provider will have to maintain in order to become and maintain your instructor credential. So a couple of additional housekeeping things that we need to talk about is that this course is being conducted using the Moodle platform. For those of you that have gotten to this point, to be able to view this presentation, the Moodle platform is similar to Blackboard and will allow us to conduct all of our classroom lecturing and testing and discussion boards and those kinds of things throughout this Moodle platform, and your contact information will be noted through that as well. It's very important that you review on at least on an every other day, potentially every day basis, maybe not so much, but at least every other day or every third day, review the information located here on Blackboard and complete necessary assignments. There are going to be lectures that you'll see, both video lecturing as well as audio voiceover lecturing of PowerPoints that you will be expected to review. There will be potential for some quiz questions or some potential for some open discussions amongst your classmates as well as me to kind of talk about different methods, talk about different strategies that have been successful or unsuccessful in the classroom, some strategies that may have been successful or unsuccessful while precepting students in the clinical or field internship environment. But the main focus of this is really to get you prepared as potential instructors to be able to maintain, control a classroom, as well as understand the fundamentals of what it means to learn. And that's going to be the basis of one of our first presentations, is understanding the adult learner, and you'll see that in things to come. But it's really important that you pay attention, that you do the classwork, and I really hope by the end of this class that you will have gotten something out of this, not just your required hours, but I hope that I can provide you with some tools that will make you successful both in the classroom and in the additional training environments that you may be subject to. Within Moodle, at least for the first couple of days that you will see, there will be an enrollment quiz. If you are seeing this presentation, that means that you have at least logged into Moodle. But in order to verify your enrollment into our course, you must have completed a quick 3 to 5 question Moodle quiz, and it'll be related to things that are on your syllabus, your outline, how to make contact if you have Moodle problems, various things that require a little bit of work. It shouldn't take you that long to complete, but this is our verification that you are actually enrolled in the class and that you have successfully completed the enrollment piece that all distant learning education students must go through. With your course enrollment, you will see throughout the syllabus, if you have the ability to bring up your syllabus at this point in time, there are several things with your syllabus that I want to bring to your attention. Obviously, I am available to you pretty much during normal business hours, during normal course hours. That is normally from 8 to 4:30, 8 to 5, but I'm available via email pretty much any time that you have a question or you have a concern. You notice my contact information is there on the first section of the syllabus. Down through the down if you're looking at the syllabus, your course identification information that you see there, and pay specific attention to the prerequisites. Okay, you must currently be a credentialed EMT, EMD, advanced EMT, or paramedic in order to sit for this class. Okay, so you must have a current credential. I would hope that if you're enrolling in this, you already have that. And I'm not necessarily subject to ask you for these credentials, but this is obviously a requirement. It is preferred that you have at least 3 years of experience. I know that's a point of contention, but it really pays off when you have the ability to relate certain things that we're going to talk about in the class to maybe certain experiences that you potentially have. And then obviously for any of our EMS classes, you must have a minimum of a high school diploma, GED, and or read at the 11th grade level. So if one of these prerequisites you currently do not have, we can discuss this on a case-by-case basis. But this is typically what you would see. Skipping down to the next section is the course description and overview. The purpose of this class is to provide students with who are clinically competent in a specific EMS content area with the instructional knowledge, resources, and skills to effectively deliver quality EMS education. That's basically to sum this up. The course that you're currently enrolled in will not meet the requirements for the fire instructor. So if you're sitting in this class for the North Carolina Department of Insurance Ed Meth class for fire instructor, this will not equate over to that. So just reach out to me, and if you need to leave the class or whatever the case may be, if this is something that pertains to you, then just let me know. Moving on to the next section, you'll see the course learning objectives, and you can kind of see that and you kind of roll through that yourself. Obviously, if you are getting here to this point, the next section talks about course resources and the course website. I will provide you with resources along the way for various things that we're going to be doing, from audiovisual aids to learning styles, to doing personality tests, those kind of things that we'll talk about. One of the things that I did want to make sure that you're aware of is that although we're going to be covering a lot of information in this class, I highly recommend that you get this book, The Foundation of Education, the EMS Approach, and I've included the ISBN number there in the course syllabus so you can have that. You kind of see the grading scale that you have. You can kind of see the grading policy. Excuse me. There as you go, we have to make sure that you maintain an 85% or greater to receive successful credit for this class. So you got to kind of do a little work. You know, there's certain assignments that you'll be required to do, and those will be graded accordingly. So, you know, I would hope that the reason why you're in this course is to better yourself, to move forward. So this is something that you want to do, nothing that you necessarily have to do, but I definitely expect you to put an effort while doing this program. And the last section that you'll see is on the last page. There is the course schedule, and it'll be talking about the things that we will be covered within the week. Normally what will happen is that I will not open up the course content ahead of time. So, you know, you kind of expected to do your week-to-week assignments. You can't jump ahead, do everything all at one time. And the reason why is because as a distant learning student, you are held to the same attendance requirements as a classroom, a seated traditional student. So I have to ensure that you are participating and you have a virtual attendance each week. So there will be assignments that will be due each week. I will typically open them up on a Monday morning, and then I will close them normally by 11:30, 11:59 on Sunday night for the previous week. So be sure that you take care of all of your necessary coursework as you go along. The 2 days that we have set aside for your in-person presentations, and we'll talk a little bit about this further as we go along in the week. Probably the end of week 2, we'll start talking about your presentation. Your first presentation is going to be one of 2, and it'll be related to a skill. You have to be able to present, and you have to be able to teach a skill station, some sort of hands-on skills, practical, that you feel comfortable doing. Now, as we go along in this class, you're going to quickly learn that I don't necessarily require you to do presentations on an EMS topic. And the reason why I don't do that is because I'm really looking for the fundamentals of presenting. Yes, there should be some component of knowledge of an EMS topic, but you know, if I choose to make it an option for you, I would give you the latitude of choosing a topic of your choice. I've had topics that range from mixology. I've had a student come in a previous class and do a skill on how to properly set up a bar. And at that time I had no clue that there was actually a proper way to set up a bar like you would find in a restaurant, like a bar. I had presentations on what a goon was in hockey. So I've had a wide variety of things during your presentations, but these presentations will typically be around 15 minutes. I'll give you between 15 and 30 minutes to present your skill. I will be available to you to provide you with equipment and those kinds of things that you may need ahead of time, but that information is going to have to be known to me at least a week before, so I can make sure that I have everything set up and ready to go. Your classroom days, as you can notice, will be on on September the 10th will be your first classroom day. And it will be, and we'll be on here on main campus, and you can see the information listed on your syllabus for your date and time in classroom. As an alternative, if we have issues with coming to class, making sure that you can get there because of your work schedule, there could be a potential alternative to your presentation in classroom days, but we'll have to discuss that on a one-on-one basis. So as it stands right now, the classroom first presentation, as you see, will be a week 3 of your course. The date is listed there on your syllabus, and the time and the room location is located also on your syllabus. For your final presentation will be in week 8 of the class. As it sits right now, Your final presentation should be somewhere around an hour. We'll give 45 minutes to 50 minutes on average, and we'll further provide information, outlines, and more description of what is expected of you in your final presentation as we progress through the course. I hope that you have gotten enough information from this particular piece of it that you know, the outline and the course objectives, and to be able to easily follow along and easily to keep up with the class. Obviously, if you have issues or you have any kind of questions or concerns, you can certainly reach out to me. I will be providing an alternative email address within the Moodle system, within the Moodle online environment that you'll be able to access, and then ultimately I'll be available. I have office hours that I can be immediately available to you by telephone. So enough about the course syllabus, and we'll just kind of talk about a couple of additional things that we will need. Obviously, this is an internet-based program, so you're going to need to have the internet. These presentations, as you see right now, such as this video presentation, that will be normally uploaded to YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, and I will be providing a link within the week's outline within Moodle that will link you over to the YouTube channel and or the presentation. So if you're seeing this, obviously you have gotten to that point. You've gotten to that far and understand that you need YouTube. PowerPoint is what I also use. PowerPoint, I'm still working on the best way to present PowerPoint and present the information to you. It could also be within YouTube, or it could actually be a file that is set up that you have to have at least a PowerPoint viewer or actually PowerPoint program in order to see and hear the lecture. My lectures will typically be voiceover, if nothing more, if not something in this capacity, if not something like a video. You will have a voice, we'll have a lecturing component to the PowerPoints that we do. Still trying to, hopefully by the time that we progress through the system or through the course, those kinds of things will be easily navigated, being able to navigate fairly easy, and to give you a good non-boring experience. Now I will preface that by saying there is going to be some information that is going to be a little bit dry and a little bit boring. There's just certain things that within this class that we have to cover, we have to review, we have to make you aware, and we have to ensure that you have learned the material. You know, a lot of laws, a lot of things that go into play when we're dealing with classroom teaching, the ADA and various things like that that you may or may not have thought about, but there are some things that are going to be relatively dry, but hopefully I'll be able to at least keep your attention with enough information that you can properly work through the required course material. Let's see what else. The material should be viewed on a computer. I know most of us have our smartphones. Tablets are okay to be used, but you know it's hard to view the information and get the full effect while viewing it on you know, something as small as your cell phone. So you know, it is helpful for you to have a computer. You will be doing presentations, you will be writing tests, you will be doing outlines, you'll be doing several things where you need to have access to a computer. And obviously if you're seeing this video, then you do have access to that. But it's okay if you bring it to class. I'm perfectly okay with you when we do our presentations that you bring those, take your notes, and those kinds of things, and basically be interactive. I do want this course to be an interactive class, so there's going to be some requirements that I'm going to kind of encourage each of you to be interactive with your classmates. I want there to be a learning environment that is supportive of each other. I want you to be able to bounce off ideas from with me, with your peers that may be enrolled in this class, and basically work together. You know, there's going to be times where you have to do presentations, and it may be necessary that you want to practice because those are graded. And you know, I need to, as the instructor of this, I need to ensure that you know the product that I am giving you and the end result of that is going to be quality, and you will be able to take that out and be the best EMS instructor that anyone could hope for and anybody could want. So, you know, I'm going to put a lot of, I shouldn't say pressure, but I'm going to be putting a lot of responsibility on each of you to ensure that you are, that you're doing what is expected of you. And that is the peer-to-peer interaction and potentially working in groups and helping each other out. Let's see what else we can discuss about the class. I will provide links within Moodle that will direct you to the Office of EMS webpage, and will provide you with some information on the requirements to become a level 1 instructor. If you're taking this class, that is basically what you are, it's the first step into becoming an instructor, is obviously doing your EMS instructor methodology. Sometimes it varies from person to person. Sometimes, you know, people do things in various steps, but realistically, the very first step that you should take in this is really determining whether or not you fit the mold of being an instructor, whether or not it's a good fit for you. Some people it's just not. Some people, you know, are great clinicians in the back of an ambulance or in the emergency department, but they really have a hard time teaching, and they have a hard time with you know, accepting people learn in different manners, and what may work for you or may have worked for you in your learning environment may not work for a student that you're working with. So it's, you know, it's really a determination whether or not this is something for you. Some people can't stand in front of a crowd or stand in front of a classroom and lecture. Some people do better in one-on-one environments, and that's okay. I mean, that's perfectly okay. But unfortunately, with this class, there are some requirements that may put you into positions where you may feel uncomfortable, i.e. standing in front of a classroom and presenting to a group of students or a group of peers while being graded and being evaluated. But it's just something that, you know, if you want to become the instructor, if that's what you desire, this is just what you have to overcome. One of the things that, on a personal note, I historically, by nature, I'm an introvert. I am more comfortable to myself, doing things on my own, those kinds of things. But being in this field, being an emergency services field and being an instructor and teaching, it has afforded me the opportunity to kind of learn how to compensate and how to cope with some of those uncomfortable situations, being in front of the classroom, being in front of a group of people and having to speak, doing skills where you're being evaluated, you know, those kinds of things is really, you know, that I've learned how to do that, and that's what you'll learn how to do as well. So I have full confidence that we'll get through this class, and we'll do this class, and you'll meet your first requirement for your instructor level 1 course or certification. I'm sorry. As part of that, be thinking about you are going to be required to teach or student teach at least 100 hours at whichever level you hold a credential. So if you are a basic EMT and you are wanting to become a level 1 basic EMT instructor, you will need to team teach for at least 100 hours, which has to be documented, 100 hours of teaching time at that level. Okay, and same goes for the paramedic and so forth and so on. So that's just what you have to do. If you want to become a paramedic basic EMT instructor, and you are a paramedic and you have taught in paramedic classes before, you can ultimately use those hours as well to towards your basic EMT level 1 instructor. Also, as a requirement, you'll be required to attend an instructor workshop, which is completely separate from this. The Office of EMS puts it on several times a year on different parts of the state, and the easiest thing and the easiest place to find that information is on the continuum on the Office of EMS website. They have a link that will show you and take you and direct you to that area. Here at Bladen Community College, we have multiple opportunities for you to come in and team teach if that's what you choose to do. Just keep one thing in mind, is that during your team teaching time, and you're doing your teaching for your level 1 EMS credential, we will not compensate you for your time. This is basically on you. You are doing your student teaching time as part of your requirement, part of this to fulfill your requirement for level 1. Once you've gotten that completed and you are past that hour requirement and you want to come back and help with skills evaluations one day in a class, then we'll put you on the payroll and we'll be able to compensate you for your time. You know, we want you to get what you need, but unfortunately it's not really cost effective for us to provide pay to an instructor that is not really an instructor yet and is doing some team teaching under another instructor of our class. So I kind of hope you understand that. If you need further information or want to have further discussion on that, I'd be more than happy to talk to you more about that. Again, here at Bladen, we have a number of different levels of classes. Just understand that it's a progression through your instructor credential. So if you become a level 1 EMT instructor and you want to become a level 1 advanced EMT instructor, obviously you have to have the advanced EMT provider credential. But then you also have to provide, or you also have to do student teaching of at least 100 hours at the advanced EMT level. So for every level, there still is the teaching requirement and the provider requirement as well. To become a level 2 is a little bit more challenging. Level 2 requires an associate's degree as a minimum. So you have to have an associate's degree from an accredited community college. And you have to take an EMS administration course, which is a little bit different from the EMS instructor update. You still have to have your hour requirements for your teaching levels, and you have to have been a level 1 for, I believe, 2 years in order to progress up to a level 2. And level 2 instructor is really more on the administrative level, program director level, course director level, those kinds of things, but also required for all ALS, that's advanced EMT and paramedic level courses, must have a level 2 instructor associated with both of those classes. There are requirements for your recertification. Your recertification for your instructor credential is similar to that of your provider credential. You have to maintain your provider credential. If you lose your provider credential, you also lose your instructor credential. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you are no longer active with an EMT, then you are no longer active as an EMT instructor. So just bear that as well. You have to have 100 hours in 4 years of teaching, which you can do that fairly easy. But your instructor credential is also good for 4 years. So the 100 hours goes for that 4 years. You also have to have your instructor update that you're required to have. And there's a few other little minor things that, again, I'll provide a link in Moodle that you'll be able to look and look over that once you become credentialed and need to re-credential in a few years. This course can be used for continuing education, primarily for professional development. Considering we're not covering any medical topics in class per se, we can't give you any kind of medical continuing education towards your paramedic credential or basic credential, whatever, as far as your medical topics are concerned, but you can certainly use this information and this course for your other or your local requirements for re-credentialing. So just keep that in mind too. See what else I need to cover with you as it relates to this class. My background, again, like I said, I've been doing this for a number of years. I had the opportunity to go to graduate school, undergraduate and graduate school, where most of my education, my formal education, has been centered around EMS administration and healthcare management. So I've had a number of opportunities to learn from different methods of instruction. I have picked up a little tricks of the trade of things that I've learned along the way. I have done a number of these classes where none of these methodology classes seem to be the same. I mean, there's always unique people that come through these classes. They have their own personalities, they have their own styles, and it's really fascinating at times to kind of learn from each other and kind of figure out what's the method that works best, because every method is not going to work best for the classroom. I have had the opportunity to have different learning environments, from the outside classroom to an auditorium to a auditorium that held 100 people, and I had 85 EMT basic students, and I was standing in front of an auditorium lecturing because we had outgrown our space for the number of people that we had enrolled. To the traditional classroom, to obviously where we had to ship equipment. We had to move equipment every night. We had to move equipment from building to building, from one part of town to the next part of town. So it's really a tasking position to be in to be an instructor. You kind of have to have the desire. You kind of have to have the willingness to do what it takes to ensure that the students are getting the best possible experience that they can. We're going to talk a little bit about the legal aspects of being an instructor and how that's going to affect you and your students, as well as your students' future patients that they see. And it's very important that you are comfortable providing an educational opportunity and an educational topic to a student. And it's your responsibility to ensure that they know the topic. They know how to put on a traction splint. If little Johnny gets hit by a car and the paramedic goes out there and puts a traction splint on upside down or improperly or whatever the case may be, and little Johnny loses his leg, then the family of little Johnny is going to come back and want to sue potentially you or your or the paramedic provider. And during the course of the interrogation, the lawyer and the plaintiff's attorney is going to ask, how did you learn to put on the traction splint? And the provider is going to come up and say, well, Joe, my instructor, taught me how to do that traction, and this is the way they taught me. So you just understand that there's a huge responsibility that we undertake as instructors to ensure that the safety, the well-being of our patient, of our student, and our students' patients are all maintained to the standard of care that's expected. And that's really where it comes into play for our responsibility. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's going to be a few things on Moodle that you're going to have to complete this week. There'll be a few additional lectures, voiceovers, some PowerPoints that you're going to have to review, a couple discussion boards, potentially a quiz. Not really in favor of quizzes as long as I can ensure that you're watching the material and doing the discussion boards and having open-ended discussions amongst your peers. May lay off on the quizzes, but nonetheless, make sure you get your enrollment stuff done. Make sure you are able to log into Moodle. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help you along the way. And obviously, I'll be seeing you in a couple weeks. But until then, take care, and best wishes and good luck to you.